This is the Sports Hounds Real Sports Bark Podcast, bringing you current events, news, NFL, NBA, MLB, soccer, UFC, boxing, and more. Make sure to hit us up on the website, thesportshound.com. And now, here's your host, Tigsta.
What is up, everybody? This is episode number 4 of the Sports Hounds Real Sports Bark Podcast with yours truly, Tigsta. Yes, indeedy. We got some news to jump into. Of course, this is the weekend before the weekend of the NBA All-Star Weekend. You feel me? In Los Angeles, California for 2018. Let's jump into some of this NFL football news. If you haven't heard, the 49ers have signed Jimmy Garoppolo to a 5-year contract worth around $138 million with $70 million guaranteed. Now, my opinion on this is this. Okay, there's two sides to every coin. The one side is this. You have a quarterback who has given you a body of work of 5 games starting. He won those games. The opposition, on the other hand, of those 5 wins are not exactly teams that's like going to push you or show off your skills. He did credit him, though, with winning the game against Jacksonville, but that is also the game that Jacksonville found out that they've won the division. There was nothing to play for. There weren't going to be a number 1 seed. They weren't going to be a number 2 seed. They were going to be a divisional winner playing in a wild card game for the first round of the playoffs, and they've clinched in that game before that game. Okay, that's neither here or there. But anyway, what I want to know is, would you give a quarterback that much money and guaranteed money with only a short period of starting games for you, of 5 games? Now, what the Niners should have done and could have done is just give him the franchise tag for 1 year. Let this cat come in there for 1 year and play all these games. Then you have a larger body of work to grade him on. You would have 16 games if they made the playoffs, possibly 17, possibly 18, depending on how far he could have took them if they would have got that far. But we know they're in a rebuilding mode. Now, with that being said, the other side of the coin of that, when you feel you have a franchise quarterback in the NFL, you must do everything within your power to make sure he does not get away to another team. And that includes giving him the largest contract ever to a starting quarterback or any other position on the field at this time in this day and age of the NFL. So, that was just a thought of mine where they could have franchised him and just have him show more, you know what I mean, as far as give him different looks and see, different games on the road and just see if it's not just, was it just the opposition that you beat because the opposition was weaker, not that the Niners were a great team playing those teams, but I mean, you're only as good as your opposition, you know what I mean? So it's like, if I'm in high school and I'm going one-on-one against a 6th grader, I mean, hell, I'm going to look like Jordan. But you put me up against somebody else that, you know what I mean, that's my equivalent or greater, I'm not going to look so hot. So, I mean, that's the same thing with on the field. You got to put him against opposition that's going to really bring out his abilities, his skills, and so forth. Now, from the outside looking in, this is a great move for the Niners, because there's not really too much out there that you can really invest in and call them a franchise quarterback. You can go into the draft, but going into the draft is still a crapshoot, because you don't know if that quarterback that you do draft, if that's what they were going to do, is going to pan out to become an elite quarterback for your team that you can build around. It's not a given. He could have did good in college, you know what I mean? Succeeded in college, could have did all kind of things and accolades in college, but that does not mean that it will always transgress over into the NFL. I've seen many failures at number 1 overall as a quarterback. There's more success stories later past the first round than you do at the number 1 overall pick. You know, that's just a crapshoot. You hope you get what you think you're getting. You don't know. Um, but with Garoppolo, I think the Niners have an idea of what they want in their system. They feel that this guy can fit in that system and also bring victories. So, like I said, if you feel you have an elite quarterback, a franchise type quarterback that you can build around, this is the move, one of the moves you could do to solidify that for the near future. But like I said, you could have franchised him for 1 year and just give him a larger body of work to give you to show off what is he really this good? Does he really fit this scheme, this system, well, like you hope, like you seen with just a taste. So I mean, it is what it is. They got their man. This is the man they feel they have. They locked him down. No questions. Now you can go in the draft and free agency and start putting the pieces around this dude to be successful. That's a good move. They have a quarterback now. That's a good move. Now, whether it pays off as far as him becoming what they want him to become, that's where we'll see that down the line. That you have to wait. You know what I mean? The jury is still out on that one, but we'll wait and see. We'll watch next season, see how he does, and that's all you can do. I mean, so with that being said, congratulations on the large contract. May you do well, study, and give the Niners what they want, man. Because the bottom line is you want to be competitive. The league is better when the teams are competitive. It's not good when you only got a handful of good teams, and then the teams making up the wild cards are like teams you look at like they're one and done. You know, I want to get back to the days when a wild card has the opportunity of going all the way and winning a Super Bowl because they're just as good as 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it is what it is. It's a good thing. We have a quarterback in San Francisco 49ers in Santa Clara. Not San Francisco, they moved. But they got their dude. Congratulations. Now we're waiting for free agency and we're waiting for the draft. The combine also. So there's a few things up online coming up in the NFL, that a lot of fans would pay attention to. And I'm one of them. I'm looking forward to free agency. I want to see what happens in free agency. Who's going where, what team is going to get the next, pieces to help them become that next team to make it to the Super Bowl. And then after that, we have the draft, which is another fun time because not only do you just have a draft, you also have trades going on during the draft too, with teams moving up and moving down within those rounds. Getting more draft picks or getting the player that they have eyes on and they don't want anyone else to get. So that is going to be a very exciting time coming up.
You want sports? We got it right here. This is the Sports Hounds Real Sports Bark Podcast.
We're in the midst of college basketball. This year with college basketball, man, it's going to be a trip because it's like a lot of teams out there that's like, you get a number one ranked team, then they get hit and they drop. And then you get another one jumping them number one and then they drop. The playing field this year in college basketball is so ridiculously even. It's like there's going to be a lot of bracket busters out there. When they fill out their brackets for March Madness next month, none of them is guaranteed. There's not like 4 top teams that you can really say and put your bottom dollar on it that they're going to make it all the way until to the Final Four. It's not that easy this year. You got teams that's all of a sudden, their record may not reflect how their team been doing all season. A team that's surprising me, I don't expect them to make the tournament, but I see them turning around with St. John's. St. John's, for instance, is taking down these teams this late in the season. And it's like they finally starting to understand how to play with each other and how they're coming together and they're gluing, they're gelling. You know what I mean? The play as a team because they're taking down some big dogs. They're not taking down these small colleges and schools around that's just on their schedule. They're taking down some big dogs that's considered big dogs for this season. And boy, I tell you, if they continue this. And I'm saying, man, it's like I said, I don't think they're not going to make I don't think they're gonna make the tournament this year. I really, I'm not sure. I think it's because of the success they had late. I think because coming out the gate, they weren't that good, you know. But then again, you got to take your hats off to Chris Mullins. He goes back to his alma mater of St. John's, and he's turning it around. You can see the difference. Next season, that's what I want to see. When this team is start winning again, and then the recruits start coming, and this guy has them believing in his system, this team can be something. You know, yeah, man, he really has them turned around. I mean, you have teams like Villanova out there that's playing good. You have of course, North Carolina is your Dukes. They just played. North Carolina beat them. So good luck to you guys on your brackets, because I'm gonna tell you like this, man. I might have to do like 5 of these things, because it ain't no telling, like Jack told Helen. Shout out to E40. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, you just gonna have to just try to pay attention to these games going on now. Pay attention. It's good at the beginning of the season, but this is the time when you really have to pay attention, and when you just really start defining who's really contenders, who's really pretenders. You know what I mean? Contenders from the pretenders is what we're trying to separate now when you get into your bracket, especially when you have these brackets where they're giving out cash rewards for the best bracket or the 100% correct bracket, you know? So yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting with this March Madness. Man, we getting into it, boy. We about to get into a month that's just like, I mean, once football's over with, everybody else starts to. You got like for instance with the NBA, you have NBA All Star Weekend next weekend. After the All Star Weekend, and they had a lot of trades going on, but we're gonna discuss the trades in episode 5 of the NBA All Star Edition. So this episode, we're not gonna get into the meat and potatoes of the NBA, because I want to do a nice big show with a couple of guests, so we can discuss what's going on with the NBA, what they think, what you feel about the trades, who benefited from the trades on either side. You know what I mean? Who can you look forward to making that last push into the playoffs? Can they make their seeds rise, or can they even make it to the playoffs if they're ranked 9 and 10 right now? Are they still in the mix? That's what we want to look at. But we're gonna cover all that on the NBA All Star Show podcast that we have for next weekend. So we'll talk about the dunk contest, the 3-point shootouts, the NBA All Star game with Steph Curry's team versus LeBron James. We'll discuss the big trade that Cleveland Cavaliers made. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on, man, and we also got to pay attention to these players that's packaged up in these trades who's not there to play for the team but gets bought out, and then they go to the team of their choice. That's another thing that can happen in the NBA to make another team improve. You know, Joe Johnson is a name out there. You know what I mean? Derrick Rose, that's another name out there as far as being bought out and being free on the market. We'll discuss the teams that they choose to sign with, and what does that mean for that team. Does it help them? Does it hurt them? Or is it just to add depth? We'll get into all that on episode 5, so just stay tuned, you guys, because episode 5, like I said, we're going to go all in. We're going to be flagrant. You know, we're going to be flagrant in the paint, going flagrant on cats. But, yeah, man, we got a lot of stuff coming. So we discussed the college basketball. We discussed the NFL. We do have the Winter Olympics jumping off now, you guys. I'm kind of interested in the Winter Olympics, because I want to see, like, I pay attention to like the bobsledding, the speed skating, even the snowboarding, because man, those dudes, when they be on those snowboards, man, they do some ridiculous stunts and tricks, man. That's like, wow. You know what I mean? These dudes put in really the time and the money and the patience and the blood, sweat, and tears and everything else you can think of to really like perfect their craft, and I respect that, because when you have something that you love and you love doing, you have to give it your all to try to be the best, if not the best in the world. And this is what the Olympics is here to show, whether it's the Summer Olympics or the Winter Olympics. It's about trying to be the best out of everyone. You want that gold medal, and that's what that gold medal stands for. That you were number one in that sport. Um, so we have that jumping off, man, and it's gonna be interesting. It just started off. They had the opening ceremonies yesterday. Um, so you guys can go ahead and go to thesportshound.com, leave your name and emails, and leave any questions you have. Matter of fact, for the All Star podcast, I want questions. I want people to go ahead and go to thesportshound.com, leave your name and your email and a question. Any question you want us to answer, we'll discuss it on the next podcast. If it's NBA, NFL, whatever questions you want to pose, if you have any ideas and you want us to discuss like a question that you might have or something and what our opinion and take is on it, go ahead and go to thesportshound.com, leave your name, your email address, and your question. Just that's all we ask for. Man or woman, it does not matter. You can ask, anybody can come and ask a question, and we'll pick depending on how many we get, we'll pick a few and read them and then answer them also and discuss it. Also, what I want to do is I want to take one man and one woman and pick just a random name from each sex, and they will be presented with a Real Sports Bar Podcast T-shirt. That's right, we're going to do a giveaway. So what I need you to do, go to thesportshound.com, leave your name, your email address, leave us a question, and out of those questions, we'll pick a few and go over them for the next episode on episode 5 next weekend, which is NBA All-Star Weekend in Los Angeles, California. We will pick one person, one man and one woman, and you both will receive a Real Sports Bark podcast t-shirt free. So you can sport it, and people ask you about it, tell them to go online and tune in and subscribe. And man, we're going to bring more content. We're going to do some live stuff as far as going directly to where we have events going on and get some interviews with the athletes and even some celebrities. So we're just about sports, man. This is the kind of stuff when we sit around and just, we have different ideas, different outlooks on situations in sports, and we just discuss them. It's chill, you know what I mean? And this is a family show. So your kids can listen too. They're really interested in sports, whether it's soccer, whether it's hockey, whether it's tennis. Oh yeah, speaking of tennis, I didn't stop myself. Matter of fact, I'll talk on that in a minute. But anyway, yes, if they have any questions of any sports, they can go online and leave their email and leave the questions too. It doesn't have to be a man or a woman. We will pick a child. If you're a girl or a boy and you're into sports and you listen to Real Sports Bark Podcast, I will pick a name, a man and a woman, and also leave your gender in the when you leave the email too. We will pick one man, one woman. It can be boy, girl, also, but two sexes, man, woman, male, female. But anyway, we will give out one T-shirt each. When we select you, we will notify you, and all we need is a shipping address to send the merchandise to. And we would love for you to take a picture with it on and email us back, and we will post it on the site. We will post it on our website to show the winners of the Real Sports Bark Podcast T-shirt giveaway. So yes, we look forward to you guys' questions. We look forward to hearing whatever you guys want to talk about. It doesn't have to be questions. It could be ideas, whatever. But we're here to just have an open dialogue on sports. And I'm only going to deal with the positivity of sports on the court and the field. I'll let the off the field issues, I'll let CNN and MSNBC and Fox, I'll let them handle the off the field stuff. My concern and my focus is on the field, on the court. Because I know these athletes get tired of being hit with questions, and a lot of times the questions are not justified because it's based on rumor. I don't want rumors. I want an athlete to be able to sit and talk to me, but to be comfortable enough where he doesn't feel like he has to be tight and worry about what question I'm going to ask him. We're not doing that. No. We're Real Sports Bark. You know what I mean? We're going to come with the real. We're not going to discuss your off the field life, because whatever you do off the field ain't got nothing to do with your career as an athlete. That's your personal life. Let them other cats and interviewers and media people do their thing, and let you cuss them out about asking you a stupid question.
This is the Sports Hounds Real Sports Bark Podcast with your host, Tigsta.
I might ask you some questions of sports that ain't even got nothing to do with the sport you're in. So you could be a football player. I'm going to ask your opinion. What do you feel about the NBA Finals? You know what I mean? If you play golf, I might ask you, what do you feel about the NHL playoffs? Who do you feel is the team to beat? What is your opinion? We're going to talk all sports, even the entertainers. If I get rappers, singers, actors, or whatnot, comedians to come sit and talk, or we can even interview on the phone, it does not matter. My job's not to make you feel uncomfortable. I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to feel like we boys, we at the barbershop getting faded up and getting lined up, and we just talking. You know what I mean? You know how we do it in the barbershop, man. We talk about every sport you can think of. You know what I mean? Who do you think is the greatest at this sport? What is his stats? Compare the two. Who you think is great? I don't think he's great. You think he's great? You do? Why you think he's great? That kind of conversation, man. I'm trying to bring that old school, sit down and think about, the greats. I don't want the greats to be forgotten. I want to talk about the greats. You can also, and I'm gonna keep pushing this out there for the Real Sports Bark. We're affiliated with the Sports Hound. Sports Hound is the main umbrella. The podcast that I'm running is Real Sports Bark. But the Sports Hound, if you go to our Instagram page, which is Sports Hound Media, you go there on Instagram and you will see the pictures that are posted of all these throwback athletes that we probably forgot about or never heard of, depending on your age. We bring stuff from every sport. It's golf, hockey greats, there's tennis greats, there's football greats, basketball greats. Man, we're covering it. I mean, because a lot of these dudes, man, a lot of them pave the way for these young dudes to get into these sports and succeed and get the money that they're getting now and the notoriety. And I like to pay homage to those who were before, the ones that you might have not, remembered, like the first black hockey player, that kind of thing, the first black golfer, or the first woman this, or the first woman that, and man, the list is just out there and plentiful. Or it doesn't even have to be black and white. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be male or female. It can just be the first. And sports is one of those things where we can come to sports, and it doesn't matter your economic background, it doesn't matter your race, it shouldn't matter your religion, it shouldn't matter none of those things. What should matter is, can you play your sport at a high level? Can you help your team win? If you're an individual athlete, such as a boxer or UFC, are you good enough to get to the peak of your weight class, or that division, and getting that belt? I mean, that's all we should focus on. It shouldn't matter your skin tone and all these other. Who cares? I want to know how good you are. I'm going to root for you. If you're a good dude and you out there in your sport and you one of the elites and I see greatness in you, I push you. Oh, man, I get behind you and push you. I don't care. Especially women too. And speaking of that, that's why I want to get to this. We have Serena Williams returning back from the birth of her baby, and she's back, you guys. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she does, man. Because I mean, she's blessed her and her husband with their, the newborn, and now she's back at what she grew to love and what we know her for, tennis. So I look forward to seeing what she has as far as returning back, and can she dominate like she has in the past. A lot of people, all she had was a baby, but that's a nice little long layoff, so it's nice to see her back. It's nice to see Tiger Woods back. It's nice to see any player that's ever been injured or had to miss time back. And that's for the love of the sport. I love to see greatness. I love people to see people striving for greatness, to become great. You know what I mean? Just to go with that journey as a fan, to be on a journey with a player that you see just all the way up to being like the peak. I mean, that's fun because you get to see them improve. You get to see their ups, their downs, their blood, their sweat, their tears, their, you know what I mean, their laughs, their cries. It's all involved, man. And sport is a real, it's a good thing because it teaches you camaraderie, teaches you to get along. It teaches you communication. Um, it does a lot, you know, and it's a good thing to get your kids into. If you don't have kids in any kind of sport, and it doesn't matter, you know, whatever sport it is, you know, get them into something. Let them you know, explore what it is that they like. You know, a lot of parents sometimes interfere and want kids to do what they once did when they were young, but we shouldn't do that. We should let our kids go ahead and you can let them, you know, try different things. And when they find one that they like, then push them in that. That's what we do. Find what they love and push them into that. Make them be great at that. We don't have to have them be like us because my opinion is with our kids in sports and life in general is for them to be greater than us. See, that's the whole thing. Why just stand still where, oh, you're going to be great in football because your daddy was great in football, or you're going to be great in hockey because your granddaddy was great in hockey, or you're going to be good in basketball because your mama was good in basketball. We shouldn't have that mentality. We need to find out what our kids enjoy, introduce them to it, of course, but let them pick and choose what it is that they love. Because if you love something, you're going to give it your all. If you got them doing something that they don't like doing, they're going to have to do it. And some parents tend to, you know, they want to yell and oh, you suck. You got to do better than that. And we shouldn't do that. We got to build these kids up and give them the building blocks to do that. And it's like, let them try different sports. When they find something they like, they're going to let you know. And they don't have to do it in words. You can tell by the expression on their face that it's something that they love. The smile on their face is going to be so huge. It's like, oh man, a Cheshire cat. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's just one thing I want to discuss with sports, man. Sports is a good thing for the youth of today. You know, and it keeps them out of trouble, keeps them occupied. Because, you know, like they say, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. And so as long as we keep them occupied and using their mind and exploring different things to do, maybe we will find that one that they like and we push them, and then they might be the next Jordan, or they might be the next Wayne Gretzky, or the next Serena Williams, or the next man, the list just goes on and on and on. I mean, you have greats, man, that's just out there, and it's just like, if you can find something your kid is into, just push them to be great at that, and they won't mind, because if it's something if they love, you push them to love it and then become the greatest at it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's just one of my thoughts. You know what I mean? And like I said, man, it's sports is a beautiful thing, and that's why I do what I do. This is why I started this podcast, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that has the same mentality when it comes to sports. It does save lives. It does help you get education. It does help supply food on the table for your family to eat, a roof over your head. It does so much more. You know, there's so much involved in sports. It's man. So do it. If you got kids and you want to find out what they like, just introduce them to the sport. If they don't want to do it, don't force them to do it. They just want to try something. They might not like it. So let's go on to the next one. You know, find a sport. If they like it, then that's what you invest in that kid with. You invest in it and you use it as a tool. You get all A's and B's in school, you can play this sport. Or we'll buy you a new mitt, or a new basketball, or some new basketball shoes, or some golf clubs, or a hockey stick. We'll buy you some tennis rackets. We'll improve. We'll upgrade your sport that you love with the equipment you need, but you have to give us something in return. And education is a key. That is the main thing, is education. And sports can open it up where you can obtain more education on your ability. So, yes, indeed, you guys. With that being said, like I said, next weekend, this is going to be a short podcast this week because I'm setting it up for a big one for next week. So we're getting ready, like I said, for the All-Star Weekend, next weekend in Los Angeles. And we're doing the NBA All-Star edition of Real Sports Bark podcast. So stay tuned. Watch your games, watch your sports, get your questions, email us, thesportshound.com. Email us with your name, your question, and your gender, So when we do pick the one woman and one male, or one boy, one girl, and put your age too, so we know if you're a boy or a man or a girl or a woman. You know what I mean? So we know sizes. That's, you know what I mean? Or matter of fact, do that too. Put in your shirt size. You don't have to, just put in your shirt size. If you send us a question, you send us your email address and your name. Put your name, put your shirt size, and whether you're a man or woman, so I know what shirt to get you for whoever it is that we select for this free Real Sports Bark Podcast t-shirt. I'm pretty sure you've seen the logo, and that's what's going to come on the shirt. I will post the shirts up on the website shortly, so you can go there and check them out and see what they look like. But like I said, they're free t-shirts. The women's shirts is going to be a woman's t-shirt. The man's is going to be a man's premium t-shirt also. So, yes, come in with your questions. I want to get those questions quick. So if you could do them today, send them today, because we're going to start recording the podcast for the NBA All-Star Edition starting tomorrow. And I will have a couple of guests, so we're going to do a back and forth and do a panel and just discuss about NBA, the trades, the injuries, and what can we look forward to on this last little journey going into the playoffs for the 2018 season. So give me your questions, you guys. I'm glad you guys tuned in and listened. But stay tuned for the next episode. The next episode is a can't miss. All right? And I'm Tixter, and I'm out.
Thanks for checking out the Sports Hounds Real Sports Bark podcast. For more exclusive content, follow us on all social media. Twitter, Sports Hound 24/7. Instagram, Sports Hound Media. Facebook, Sports Hound Media. And on the website at thesportshound.com. And tell your damn friends about the hottest sports podcast on the web.